The following is a Hoop Ball presentation. Welcome to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast.
By popular demand, ladies and gentlemen, betting stuff we have on today's podcast, in addition to a bunch of other fun things, but also we have betting. And we haven't in a couple of Tuesdays, so that's kind of exciting for me. But before we even dive into that, hello, Uncle Leo. I got to give you the Uncle Leo at the beginning of the show. Dan Baspers, Neil Rochlani. It's Tuesday on Fantasy NBA Today. Neil, are you as excited as I am to do a little betting stuff again for the first time in a month?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was so excited.
Yeah,
I interrupted you.
No, that's the best kind of excitement.
I am always excited. Dan, we also have, I think, what is it? 1 week until we can bet on preseason. How excited are you for that?
I'm a little bit, I love betting a lot. Preseason betting is hard, man. Unless you really have, you got to read a lot of beat reports to find out who's going to be on the court and how long, because that stuff gets weird in a hurry. Betting first halves or first quarters might be your way to go on preseason wagering.
As long as it's wagering, I'm in.
You sweet degenerate.
Yes, exactly.
Neil is on Twitter at BallWithNeil, BallWithnEil. I am at Dan Bespris, DanBesbris. We only have Neil for about 12 to 15 minutes on today's show, so I want to maximize it, and then we'll tell you more about all the logistical stuff going on. We also, later in the program, will have our first of the 11 industry pros, and it's Kyle McKeown today, a really good one to start out with. We also have a coupon hiding somewhere in today's show to get $3 off the any product, actually, over at Hoop Ball. So that's Draft Guide, Game Time Premium, the early B150, which is out as of yesterday, the early bird B150. You can get that a la carte, or you can get some of these package deals, Pro Package, Champions Package, all that stuff. So stay tuned for the coupon. But Neil, one of our listeners, we'll just call him Theo. I don't know how much he wants us to reveal about him. Sent us over some pretty sweet player props as opposed to us actually doing the digging on this. And I mean, what better way to orchestrate a show than to have someone else provide the content for you? Am I right?
That is, yes. That's what I used to rely on for Adrian back in the day.
Adrian, what are we doing today? So thank you, Theo. This is awesome. We're going to cover a couple of these every week here while we're also doing, obviously, draft dives and stuff like that. Neil, do you want to start with MVP? That's sort of the why bury the lead, right?
Oh, exactly. This is probably the most fun year to do it, too, right?
Oh, it's a great one. And we've got like 36 candidates for MVP. We're not going to go through all of them because, half are basically outside the conceivable realm of betting window. But there are a lot of really interesting names. And the long shots that are on the board, I'll just throw 4 names out there. There are 4 long shots that are 500 to 1 to win MVP. Derrick Rose, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, and LaMarcus Aldridge. What a strange quartet. I just had fun saying those 4 names together for some reason.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. I wish you could bet the no on all of them and then parlay them.
Yeah.
Which I guess you can't do. But, there is a name, a couple above those that I might actually take as a long shot.
Oh, all right. Well, let's work.
You know where I'm going with this at all or not?
I haven't a clue. Who are you looking at that's just a couple above them?
Jason Tatum.
Oh, interesting. That would be it's going to have to be a monster of a year, though, right? He's going to have to average
but
30.
He has the potential, doesn't he?
To average 27 points a game, you think?
I'm not saying it's a long shot, but I'm saying of all these guys, it's not going to be. I mean, Jason Tatum could be their number one. I think he could be the number one option in Boston.
Yeah, he could. He could move out in front there, catch a bunch of people by surprise, considering his odds are 6 times better than Kemba Walker's, who everybody just assumes. And we just mentioned Gordon Hayward, who was right behind him on this list. Jason Tatum, by the way, is 300 to 1. Neil, you could put $5 on that, and you could pay your rent.
I could. No, I'm not going to play any of these. But if all of these that I'm looking at that are 300 or 1 or more, I mean, I think he's the one. If I had to pick one, it would be him.
Okay, here's a good game to play with the long shots. Again, probably something that I should have worked out in my head before going on air, but screw it. We're here now. We're doing it. With the long shots, we'll each pick one from every grouping. You already picked yours in the 300 group, but dialing it back to the 500 to 1, Derrick Rose, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, LaMarcus Aldridge. You have to put $1 on one of those four guys. Which one is it?
Wait, you forgot one, didn't you?
Of the 500 ones? Maybe I didn't scroll down far enough. Oh, the 1,000 to 1. Oh, my God.
No, there's another 500 to 1. You didn't say Vucevic, did you?
I did not, no. Yeah,
okay.
the 1,000 to 1 I didn't even see. That's Lonzo
I know,
Ball.
How great is that one?
Lonzo Ball. Yeah, I'm not putting $1 on Lonzo. Even at 1,000 to 1, that's a bad bet. Vooch, I mean, if he wasn't going to get it last year, he's not going to get it this year. You got to go with somebody who's going to do something weird. Like, what if Derrick Rose averaged 26 points per game for the Pistons? The players would riot if he didn't win MVP. I would put $1 on Derrick Rose.
Well, I think that happening is less than. Well, anyway, I would not take Rose. I would not take Hayward. I guess I might go Lowry if I had to pick one.
Yeah, that's no fun. I'm going Derrick Rose. Well, I mean, these aren't winning, so who the hell cares? You already got Jason Tatum for the next chunk, so I feel like I can't copy you there. The other names in the 300 to 1 grouping are Zach LaVine, Trae Young, De'Aaron Fox, and Chris Paul. I guess I'd go De'Aaron Fox of that group. I think you and I are both looking at this from the same angle, which is the team has to win for a team to be considered, or for a player on said team to be considered for the award. So Boston could conceivably have a good year. Sacramento could have a decent year. And if De'Aaron, if he averaged like 22 and 10 and went crazy, there might be some chatter there. But I mean, let's be honest, none of these guys is getting a single vote, other than the one member of the media who votes for Derrick Rose. So that's why I put my $1 on it. What about the 200 and 250 chunk? That's Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, Blake Griffin, and DeMar DeRozan. Do you want me to go first on this one? I think you went, because I did.
Yeah, go right ahead, please.
Let's see, Booker, Holiday, Griffin, DeRozan. Yeah, it's got to be Blake Griffin, because he could pop off, and the East is terrible, so the Pistons could actually run up some wins. I don't see it happening, but Phoenix isn't going to win many games. The Pels, the other guys on that team, are going to draw too much attention, and then DeMar DeRozan is just, he's a thoroughly uninteresting basketball player these days, so I got to go Blake Griffin.
Yeah, that's probably the safest pick. I would probably go Booker just because, let's say somehow Phoenix makes the playoffs and Booker averages 45 a night.
Yeah, good point. Okay, you got a good argument there. I'll throw an extra shekel on Devin Booker.
Okay.
The 15,000 group: Zion Williamson, Victor Oladipo, Pascal Siakam, Kristaps Porzingis, and Jimmy Butler. This one for me is a Jimmy Butler no-brainer if I was going to throw $1 on any of them. What about you from that chunk?
Yeah, I can't. Can I copy you? This is obviously the easiest one to pick is Butler.
Yeah, I might even throw $1 on him just overall, because he could average 25, 7 and 7 with 2 steals a game on a Heat team that goes, 45 and 37 or something like that. That would actually get him a few votes, I think, in real life.
He should easily be an All-NBA player. Right, so he should be in the conversation for one of the best players in the league. It's just a matter of how well does he do in leading Miami. So he could be in the conversation. I don't see why that's not even that far-fetched.
No, not at all. And I think for the rest of these guys, we can actually put them all in the same discussion, which is, do any of these guys make the threshold of someone you'd actually bet on, with the possible exception of Rudy Gobert at 125 to 1. But now you're into the real names. So which of these jump out to you? We can even, if we talk about all of them, that'll be our segment for the day, and maybe that's the way to go. Giannis is the favorite at 3 to 1. I don't think he's winning it back-to-back years. Do you?
I don't think he is either. It's unless he has just a remarkable year, and then the Bucks run away with the season win total. I don't see it happening again this year.
I like either Braun, Harden, or Curry are the 3 that I'm looking at from the favorites chunk.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say Embiid.
No, I don't think he's playing enough.
Okay.
You gotta get to
Braun,
70 games. You gotta get to 70
LeBron
games.
is, if he plays, 75 plus games, should be in the conversation.
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
You said who's the other one?
LeBron, Curry, and Harden. I think Harden just because
Oh,
he's been
interesting.
whining so much, and so that's going to get him addition. I mean, he played at an MVP level last year. Giannis was just more important. I get it, but let it go, James. Come on. Move on to the next thing. And then with Steph, he's going to have to go supernova this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does, I mean, I was looking at his numbers from 4 years ago in the pre-Durant era, and I had almost forgotten how unreal he was that last year before KD showed up. You remember his numbers from that season? I didn't.
I don't, but he was one of those guys that would just change the game being on the court.
Yep.
Right? It was just
Totally.
watching him was like watching, I don't know. I wouldn't say like watching Jordan, but it was something like that. And that he just had this certain gravitas that you couldn't stop him.
He shot the same percentage from the floor as Al Horford that year, while putting up 5 3-pointers a night, 30 points, 5.5 rebounds, almost 7 assists, over 2 steals a game, and 91% at the free throw line. It was a 50-40-90 year, obviously. He was just insane. He led the league in scoring. Even Harden was a point behind him that year. He was so good to do that, score 30 points a game with 5 threes on 50+% shoot. I mean, if he channels that, he's got the inside track, I think. I think he should be the favorite over Giannis.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I would probably go a little more interesting. I'm going to go with Davis.
AD at 9-1.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because I just think LeBron's okay deferring to him. And if the Lakers finish first or second in the West and Davis puts up those ungodly numbers, and he's clearly one of the best talents in the league. So,
are there
we'll
any
see.
of these top guys that you can eliminate from contention for yourself?
I would eliminate Jokic. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on that one, oddly enough.
Paul George, because he's not going to play that many games. Westbrook, it just doesn't seem like that he has a chance. You know what? I actually would go my 2 if I had to make bets based on these odds. Not that I think they're the top 2 favorites, but the best values would be Davis and Embiid. That's all I would eliminate, though, is Jokic, George, and then Westbrook. And then probably Lillard. I just can't see
he's
Portland
not
being that great again.
No, and then almost anybody beyond that. We already mentioned Jimmy Butler at 150-1 as an interesting idea. Cat at 50-1, maybe.
Oh yeah, you could eliminate him too.
Yeah, I mean, you can eliminate almost. I'm looking at all the guys that we can probably eliminate and trying to make an argument in my mind for which one you could bring back into the fray.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because what if they overperform? That's always the thing you can look at with some of these teams. What if the Wolves are good and Cat's averaging 28 and 12? Then he'll get some votes. Those guys just aren't going to win it, though. They're just not. I mean, the only one of those guys that has a chance is Butler because he's such an alpha. He's going to get recognition even if he doesn't deserve it. Yeah, I know that Steph at 5-1 is not super interesting in terms of how much money you'd have to lay out for 6.5 months. But I think Steph is my guy in that top group. I think that's
here's one argument I think you might be able to make. Didn't you say Utah might win the regular season West?
Yeah, I think they've got a shot.
And there's Donovan Mitchell at 67-1.
Yeah, I guess that's you know what? There's an argument to be made there as well. All right, I got $10 to play with. This is our last exercise before we wrap it up for today. Last exercise is we got $10 to play with. Where does it get allocated? For me, I'm putting $1 on Derrick Rose. I got to see that one through. Oh, geez. I'm putting $2 on Jimmy Butler. So I got $7 to play with here. I'm putting 5 on Steph. 4 on Steph, 2 on Harden, and 1 on LeBron James. That's my $10 breakdown.
Wait, say that again? I want to write that down.
I had 1 on Derrick Rose, 2 on Jimmy Butler,
Okay.
1 on LeBron James, 2 on Harden, and 4 on Steph. Did that get me to 10? Or was that 9?
1, 2, 4, and
That was 10.
2.
That was 10. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
All right. Where's your 10?
All right. My one. I'm going to go with $1 on Tatum since you did one on Rose. I wasn't going to do that, but then you've inspired me.
That's great. Inspiration.
I'll do one on Tatum. I'll do. Yikes. I guess I'll do one on Mitchell.
One on Donovan. All right. You got $8
one on
left.
Donovan Mitchell. I'll do 3 on Anthony Davis.
All right. You got 5 to work with.
I got 5 more. I'll do 2 on LeBron.
Okay.
And 1 on Embiid.
You still got 2 left.
I do?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go 3 on LeBron and 2 on Embiid.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. The wonderful Neil Rochlani. We have a bunch of these to cover, and we'll probably go a little quicker on the next few. But MVP is the big one, man. At Ball with Neil. Neil, you're freed for the week. This is a short one.
This has been so much fun. I'm so glad we have a gambling sponsor, and we can start gambling for real pretty soon.
You know that I'm going to do that read as soon as you get off the pod now. I kind of have to. You've opened up the segue.
I was trying to bring you right in, yes.
You've opened up the segue. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Dan.
And as promised just moments ago, this podcast is, of course, brought to you by our buddies at MyBookie.ag and Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. I'm going to tell you about both of them right now, back to back. MyBookie.ag. If you happen to type in MyBookie.com, it'll take you to the right place anyway. It's so important to pick the right place to do your betting online. And as you can hear, Neil is extremely excited about it. He's ready to get his MyBookie account fired up. NBA, 6 days away. Is that right? Preseason, 6 days away. We got the a couple of games internationally, I believe. And then the real thing, 4 weeks from today. It's 4 weeks away, guys. The real NBA season. That's where I start to dive in a little bit more. I didn't want to break Neil's heart. I don't really bet the preseason. If you do, make sure it's really small, just fun money. That's not where we actually build our betting bankroll. We're going to do that during the regular season at mybookie.ag. Join now, and MyBookie will double your first deposit with promo code TODAY. Type in the word today in the promo code box when you open up your account, and your initial deposit will be matched by the good folks at mybookie.ag. Now, obviously, you've got to bet that money. You can't just match it and then take it out. But once you go through it, you bet that money, opportunity to just have a much larger initial bankroll. I mean, it's a no-brainer. You can try parlays. You can bet in-game action at MyBookie. You can bet on fantasy lines at MyBookie. Do the smart thing if you're going to bet football or basketball this season. Do it at mybookie.ag. MYBOOKIE.ag. Play, win, get paid. And, of course, a massive, massive thank you, as always, to our buddies at Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. They're the best, man. They're the best. HawaiianIsles.com. HawaiianIsles.com. Check them out immediately. They have these fantastic 9-flavor gift bags at their website. They're awesome when we get closer to the holiday season, which isn't that far away anymore. Great for birthday presents, holiday gifts, just for drinking coffee in the morning. You can get it on Amazon. That's where I would go if you wanted to just get the bag for yourself. But if you're going big, do it at their website. HI Kona Coffee on Twitter. If you have any questions about the coffee products, they've got K-Cups as well if you're into the Keurig deal. Or if you just want to talk fantasy with them. I know Glenn's always ready to chat hot pickups. Hot as a pot of coffee. HawaiianIsles.com. Title sponsor of all of our AV here at hoop-ball.com. I promised a coupon, and I hope you didn't fast forward through the advertisements because this is where it's coming out. So I'm giving you this little lead-in just in case, and the coupon is for $3 off anything at Hoop Ball. Any item available at the Hoop Ball store, which right now, 5 items are available at the Hoop Ball store. Would you like to know what they are? Good. I'm glad you asked. I will tell you about them and how you can get $3 off of each of them. 1, the draft guide. The draft guide. You can get $3 off right now, which I think we may have accidentally left the sale going a day too long. I'm not sure about that. It doesn't matter. The coupon's going to work right now, so use it immediately. Game Time Premium, the full season premium package. But if you're going to get that, you might as well just add the pro package instead, which is only $7 more than the full season premium, and the Pro package has the full season and the draft guide. We also have the Brewski 150 live now. It's actually out, people, for the early bird special subscribers. Yes, that's a special package. If you got the draft guide, the B150 will be in it on October the 7th. You can also get the Champions Pack, which is the draft guide, the full season premium, and early access to the B150. And that's basically for like $20 off what it would be to get them all separate. So bundle your goodies. And then use the coupon and get another $3 off. And the coupon code for today's show, they're all going to be tied into the pros that come on, is Kyle, K-Y-L-E, in honor of the man we'll be speaking to here in about 45 seconds, Kyle McKeown of Basketball Monster. The coupon code for today's show is Kyle. Use it to get something at Hoop Ball. We will know if people are using it, so use it, and we'll keep giving out coupon codes. That's how this works. One coupon per purchase, $3 off any one item at hoop-ball.com. Now, let's break back into the industry mock draft. We're done with gambling. We're done with sales. It's time to talk fantasy. Let's do it. The industry mock breakdown continues. We go team by team. It's almost like defending your dissertation here, right? This is like the PhD style. Kyle McKeown next up to stand in front of, I don't have a PhD, so I don't really know how this works. At Roto Kyle NBA, it's been too damn long, man. How you been?
Great, Dan. Thanks for having me on again, man.
Well, thank you for hopping in the industry mock that went completely haywire at the end. Have you ever seen a mock do what that one did, where it just started bouncing around and picking out of order and skipping people? That was weird.
I mean, we were doing it on Fantrax, and I've done enough drafts on Fantrax to feel like that's not typical. So I don't want to throw any shade at them.
No,
necessarily. I just think that because it was a slower draft, but we had guys from all around the world doing it. You had situations where guys would fall asleep during the draft. Blah blah blah. Essentially, what happened is DeMarcus Cousins, I think, got put on too many teams, and the coding just didn't know how to deal with the fact that we were constantly removing him and putting somebody else on there. And by the end of the draft, the draft room was just kind of crapping out DeMarcus Cousins. So that's what I think happened.
I thought I would lean into that. So I don't know if you saw what I did at the end. Was I ended up putting Boogie on all 12 teams. I figure that's a nice level playing field for all of us, right?
It is. It's just a little bit depressing because it's like a stark reminder that he's just not going to play this season and possibly never again.
Yeah, and he's got other things going on. Anyway, I guess we can leap straight over that. Again, at Roto Kyle NBA, give him a follow on Twitter immediately. My good buddy over at Basketball Monster. We're just going to go through your team one by one, I guess. Start at the top, and you can tell me what was going through your head at each pick, why you got him, what you're thinking they're capable of, and we'll keep it fairly straightforward. So round 1, pick 2, Karl-Anthony Towns. This one feels like a pretty easy one to explain, but go ahead, explain yourself on Cat.
I think, you've talked about it on your show plenty of times. There's 5 guys in that top 5 that you can take with, you can make an argument to take number 1 overall, but essentially the same guys are pretty much going in that top 5 in every draft. And I had picked number 2. Anthony Davis went number 1. And I'm looking at Karl-Anthony Towns for a 9-cat league. You're going to get great percentages out of Karl-Anthony Towns. So that's starting your draft off right. You can make the argument that to go with James Harden and just eat his turnovers. Karl-Anthony Towns is probably going to have big turnovers this season too, because he's expected to do more ball handling and distribution duties, kind of take the ball off the rim as far as a rebound and then just run up the court. Playing more of a Jokic type of role is what we're at least hearing rumors of. So that'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds. But, I mean, it's Karl-Anthony Towns with the second pick in a 9-cat league. If you're, with 9-cat league, you can't punt anything. You need those great percentages, and he offers you great percentages at a high volume. So it's going to buoy your team in those respects, and that's wonderful to have in rotisserie.
Yeah, it's pretty good to have a guy who's going to be putting up top 5 value and plays 78 or more games every single season. I mean, he finally took a break last year, I assume, just so that he can go back to playing all 82 this season. That's an easy one. The other stuff...
Well, like two of the games that Karl-Anthony Towns sat out last year were the final 2 games of the season.
Right.
So, okay, so now what? He sat out 3 games? And then you go back and you look at those and you're like, all right, what were the situations with those? Was he actually hurt, or they were just looking at it from the fact that, as you've kind of detailed through your discussions about him, they probably were just kind of being like, we suck. Let's not overdo it. Let's kind of give Carl a little bit of rest since we're not playing for anything.
Yeah, I also think that the Iron Man stuff sort of takes on a life of its own sometimes, where the longer it gets, the harder it becomes to just break it. So probably a good move for his health and for the team to just say, let's end this whole Iron Man thing. Just take a few days off, get yourself ready. We're not going anywhere. Hell, they shut down Rob Covington for 2.5 months last year. They can probably pull the plug on Cat for 2 days.
See, I don't know. I heard you mention that in one of the podcasts the last couple of days, and I kind of was like, I don't know, Dan. I was probably walking down the street saying to myself, walking with my dog, saying, "You're wrong, Dan. You're wrong." And everybody just thinks I'm the crazy guy walking down the street talking to myself, but it's always talking to you other podcast hosts. But yeah, I disagree with that. I think Robert Covington was legit hurt last year. I don't think that they necessarily shut him down just to shut him down, because there was still ambiguity with his health from my perspective on everything I was seeing up until today, when he finally tweeted out or put out on Instagram, "Oh, I'm back," and we saw reports from practice today. So that's my perspective. I gotta admit, I don't obsess over Robert Covington a lot because he's just, for some reason, he's not somebody I generally target in my drafts.
You know how much I love Rob Covington. He tugs at my heartstrings in a special defensive category way. But he ended up actually on Adam King's team, so we'll hear about that here in the next couple of days. Luka, second pick for you. We can keep shuttling along. 23rd overall, coming back in the second round. What's the take on Luka? How do the percentages improve? Because he's a guy where I'm a little bit afraid of.
He was 19 last year. Everybody acts like he ain't going to get older and he's not going to get better. Sorry, I hate that narrative. There's a narrative around Luka that he's not going to get better. He played over. Sorry, Dan, I don't mean to poop in your ears like that. But I'm just like I think the narrative around Luka that he's not going to get better. That's more weird to me than expecting him to improve his percentages. Plus, we saw him play overseas professionally, and he shot 78 or 80% from the free throw line. So if he gets back up even close to that, he had a horrible time at the free throw line last season. Plus, overseas when he was playing before, he's playing 82 games, which is more than he's ever played, or playing an 82-game season last year in the NBA as a rookie. He was playing more minutes, even more minutes per game in the context of, in FIBA, you play 40-minute games. In the NBA, you play a 48-minute game. There's, a lot of times over in FIBA, you see teams, they play a deeper rotation or they just play guys less minutes, not the 35 to 36 that you'll see the biggest players play here for the NBA, not here, but in the NBA. And then you also look at the fact that being a second-year player, what we've heard about Luka this offseason is that he has gotten in better shape. He's not maybe got some of that baby fat on him that a lot of people were teasing him about last year. Carlisle has said he wants to play him more. He wants him in better shape. Luka's came out and said, "Hey, look, I got in better shape. Maybe I can be better at defense," which that tells me possibly more steals.
That would be
nice.
Also
tells me that if he's just in better shape, then maybe he can hold up more, being tired, going to the free throw line and hitting his free throw shots a little bit better, things like that. So I think that we've seen Luka shoot better percentages overseas in professional ball before. I think we can blame his down percentages last year predominantly on getting acclimated to the NBA, getting acclimated to a new team and new teammates. And yeah, there's definitely room for him to grow in those areas. But even if Luka doesn't grow in those areas as much as, say, I would expect him to or I think is possible, then the fact that I did get Karl Towns in the first round, that kind of insulates me from the issues that Luka presents in some regards.
Yeah, I mean, the dude did have 21, 8, and 6, so it's hard to knock the overall numbers. My stance is, am I willing to take the risk that the percentages improve? And for you, it seems like you've got the overseas numbers, you've got the youth factor. It's a very reasonable argument to make. Can he get into that top 25 discussion?
Oh, and I mean, his turnovers are terrible for non-cat as well. So from that perspective, there's another kind of thing to nick in his wood or chip in his wood. But Overall, you see the path that Luke is on, and it's a historically great one. And I'm willing to invest at the end of the second round here.
Beginning of the third, you got John Collins. I really like this play, and you and I have actually tweeted about it. You're cool with it even if the defensive stats don't come back, but they sort of mysteriously disappeared last season. If they do, he could be damn good this year.
Well, Collins is interesting because he's already a pretty darn efficient player. He could improve in his free throw percentage, or that's a place you definitely like him to improve. But Collins has talked about wanting to be someone who can play the small forward position. So that might mean more facilitation, more dribbling, and or even just DHOs up, dribble handoffs, which can lead to some extra assists. We saw John Collins develop a legit 3-point shot last year. There's a lot of things that I think people keep trying to kind of paint him into a box, and he keeps coming out and doing things that I think people don't expect. John Collins was a great post player in college. That's like all he did. And then he came into the NBA, and in his first year in the NBA, it was like, I'm just going to dunk the ball, and that's all I'm going to do. And then last year, he adds a legit 3-point shot to his game, and now the Hawks are talking like, we're only going to play him at power forward. We're not going to play him at center. They may not be able to do that just because of the lack of depth of center on the Hawks, but for the most part, you're expecting Collins to play power forward. He's developing and showing off more of those passing skills and perimeter skills. So maybe he can someday become a big small forward like we're seeing, with like the Giannis type guys and all that kind of stuff.
And he's got such a nice floor from a fantasy perspective. The kid had 20 and 10 with, like you said, good percentages last year. He's a guy to me that makes a lot of sense in this neighborhood because he can't hurt you very much, and there's room for him to go up again.
Well, exactly. And also, maybe the biggest reason why I think people should feel secure about taking John Collins and Trae Young at the back end of that, not necessarily at the back end of the second round for both of them, but sometime in that back end of the second round or during the second round or third for Trae, and then maybe the third round for John, is that the GM, now president of the Hawks, Travis Schlenk, came out this summer and said that whereas both of those guys, John Collins and Trae Young, played just about 30 minutes last year, they're hoping that they can play them both 35 minutes this year. So now you're looking at another 4 to 5 minutes potentially for these guys to play, and even if it's not that, you're still expecting some jump in their minutes, which every single extra minute a player gets, it's tremendous help for their fantasy value.
Your fourth pick at number 47 was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's a guy that I like, but this is pretty early for him. So why'd you grab him so soon is my question. Because I know why you grabbed him. Why you grabbed him is the easy answer to that, because he's going to be good. But why so soon?
Yeah. Well, I believe Jonas Nader's in this draft, and he takes Shai early all the time. I've seen him do it in other mock drafts. So I was like, I'm not letting Jonas get to Shai. Plus, with the way my picks were going, I after Jonas let Shai get past him in the fourth, I wasn't going to let him get back to Jonas in the fifth. So the thing about Shai is, with his move to the Thunder last year on the Clippers, he was a rookie. He was good in his minutes. On the Thunder this year, he's going to play more minutes. He's going to start off being their starting shooting guard, but if Chris Paul gets moved, that's another avenue to even more production for Shai. I guess to boil it down, one of the reasons why I'm so high on Shai right now is you look at the Thunder, he could play if Billy Donovan, traditionally the last few years with the Thunder, Billy Donovan's been playing his biggest players like 36 minutes a game, whether that's Russell Westbrook, Paul George. He even plays Steven Adams like 34 minutes a game. So I don't really see a way that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't play at least 34 minutes a game. He might play 36 minutes a game. If he does that, even with Chris Paul there, he's got the potential to be a second-round player. When I first did my first sweep on the projections, my first look at Shai Gilgeous, I go through, I do my process. I'm looking at the numbers, looking at the ranks. I'm like, what? He came out 21st in 8-cat. In 8-cat.
Wow.
Not, so and then I had to go back and be like, that's just absurd. Let me take another run through the numbers on Shai. And now he's coming out at like 39th for my 8-cat rankings. But he doesn't really have anything wrong with his game. He's got good percentages, and really I just see like the sky's the limit for him, because who's going to score on this Thunder team as well? So now you're talking about big minutes, a need for somebody to score, the possibility that not even the possibility, the absolute certainty that if not this season, at some point in the future, he's going to be their starting point guard, and very possibly this season if they're able to trade away Chris Paul at some point. There's like nothing to not like about Shea. So it just seems like a secure pick in the 4th, 5th round, especially of a 9-cat.
If you didn't have Jonas Nader in the draft, would you have tried to see if you could let him fall another round or two?
I still don't think Shea would have gotten to me at the end of the 6th round. So I would have maybe let Shea get around the turn of the 4-5, but I also didn't like, when I was looking at it all, I kept saying to myself too, I was like, I don't know what the hell the Welsh is going to do. So I'm just going to take Shea because I don't want to miss out on him. And I had a couple of guys I was targeting, in kind around that turn. So I just figured like he was the guy to grab, and then I'll take whoever fell to me.
Yeah, because half of the draft strategy for all of us is trying to figure out what guys are going to get back to you. And on the way back in the 5th, you ended up with Thomas Bryant, who, as you know, a guy we obviously loved a ton last year, and it seems like the runway is clear. Are you at all concerned? And this is just me being a pain in the neck on this guy, because I love Thomas Bryant's game. Are you at all concerned about Scott Brooks doing something stupid?
If anything, I think Scott Brooks has been a player's coach in many regards for fantasy purposes. In the aspect that Scott Brooks plays his guys big minutes, at least the ones that he leans on. And when you hear Scott Brooks talk about resting players, he usually talks about it from the perspective that like, no, we don't have to cut guys minutes. We can just give them less practice time. And it's like, yeah, you're my kind of coach, pal. So as much as I hated Scott Brooks when he was still starting Kendrick Perkins at center over Serge Ibaka, I think that severely limited the potential of the Thunder in the past, and stopped them from even having a chance at beating LeBron in the finals. I do think that we should be encouraged for Thomas Bryant's outlooks this season, simply because there's no depth at center on that Wizards team. They signed him to an extension, or a new contract, 3 years. So there's not much to hate about Thomas Bryant. Is there some concern about taking him in the 5th round from the perspective that maybe last year was just a flash in the pan for him? Maybe with more attention from defenses, he gets exposed. That's all possible. But based on what we know and what Thomas Bryant has provided up to this point, he was a solid, good percentages kind of guy to grab to help try and buoy the fact that I had taken Luka earlier, and that Luka might punch me in the face with his percentages.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit on that one. His percentages are excellent, and this is a team that I don't think opponents are going to take particularly seriously, which also allows bad clubs like that to just sort of get out and run and get those easy looks as well. Your 6th round pick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And then just the final thing about Thomas, he's got the 2nd most secure role on this team behind Bradley Beal. So, I mean, it's hard to find things where you're like, yeah, but no, there's not a lot of yeah buts with Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, they kind of have to.
The opportunity's there.
Yep, they kind of have to. And I actually really like your 6th round pick also. You've probably heard me mentioning that this is a guy that's fallen, and he's coming off that horrific injury and a whole season of, kind of looking a little pudgy because he didn't get to run for like a year and a half. And that's Gordon Hayward at 71. I mean, this is a guy, Kyle, we've seen have top 40 seasons in his career, and I don't know that that's necessarily the outlook here, but there's a lot of upside for him and not a ton of downside taking him once you start to get a little later in the draft.
Oh, I mean, you're definitely concerned that Hayward might have another crappy season, or just not have a bounce back this year, as many are projecting for him. Yahoo did update their ranks today. He was at like 82. Now he's at like 62. That's pretty frustrating.
That is
because
frustrating.
he was a value before.
Yeah, 62, not so much.
Nope. But no, Gordon, even the fact that Gordon Hayward was like struggling to put up bulk stats or bulk production last year with Kyrie Irving around, and the fact that Hayward was coming off the bench most of the season behind Marcus Morris, for crying out loud. Just why, man? They were not invested in Marcus Morris. That didn't make any sense. But they did it all year for the most part. Anyways, Gordon was having some really nice stretches with his percentages last year as well. He's an efficient player when he's putting it all together. So that's another reason why you're sitting there looking at him to be able to slide into your small forward slot to get the guy who's going to be my number one small forward this late in the draft, and then to have it be someone who could very easily end up being a top 50 player. I love the value late with Gordon Hayward.
I like that your 6th and 7th round picks are like a Wheel of Fortune answer. Aaron Gordon Hayward. Aaron Gordon at 74. I think people are finally... I assume you agree since you took him here. It seems like people have finally sort of decided Aaron Gordon is a top 75 guy and get a lot of points and some good stuff back there. Yes, there is a percentages concern, but I don't know. It felt to me like last year was about as bad as it could have gotten for him, just overall. What are your thoughts on Aaron Gordon here at 74?
I think he's underrated in some respects. Like, there's still upside with this guy. He's still just 24. He could be stepping into his sweet spot of his career. And I know he's been waiting for that for 3 or 4 years, but this is like his 6th year in the league. It just might be time for him. There's definitely the possibility of greater development for him. The free throw percentage is the thing that I'm most worried about, but it's not like he takes a ton of free throws necessarily either. It's
not great, but it's not horrendous either.
Right. So I just feel like at this point in the draft, it's a reasonable, it's a safe pick for the most part, considering what else he gives you, even though there are some holes in Aaron Gordon's game. And I thought that if the other guys I drafted perform as I hope they should at free throw percentage, then Aaron Gordon would be I'd be able to make up for those deficiencies. So plus there's still a little bit of boom potential, and everybody's steals were down on the Hornets last year with Steve Clifford taking over. They played a more kind of conservative defense in that regard, but I think Steve Clifford might have realized upon review, like, I've got Aaron Gordon and Jonathan Isaac out there, and I'm not using them to do things that they can do better than a lot of other people in the league. Maybe I should do that. So I think there's a potential for a bounce back in some of those defensive stats for most people on the Magic this season.
Your next draft pick is a fun one. Tomas Satoransky at 95, your 8th round pick. He's been going pretty late in drafts, but I think that, I feel like you and I agree in what he's capable of doing. Is he falling as far as he usually is just because people have no idea who he is? Probably.
Thomas Satoransky started for the Wizards last year at point guard for most of the season.
He was really good.
Yeah, he was. And he's efficient. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's a perfect low-usage player to have next to a guy like Zach LaVine on the Bulls. And he's going to play defense. He's got good length, good size to be able to play defense against multiple positions. I think people just don't know who he is because, like, I'll talk to people and they'll tell me that Kobe White's going to start over him and stuff like this. And I'm like, you're on crack. You are on – like, it might happen just because coaches have a different perspective than we all do, and sometimes we get caught up in the narratives that we have within our basketball communities. But I would be really surprised if the Bulls didn't start Thomas Satoransky at point guard after they signed him to, I believe it was a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought him in. They they signed like 3 other point guards as well, or drafted, and they've got so many point guards that look, Chris Dunn, even though Jim Boylan came out and said, according to the Casey Johnson report this summer, that Chris Dunn is going to be the starting point guard going into camp, or that's whatever, there was a lot of nuance to the words or the way that Jim Boylan phrased it. I don't remember exactly how it was, but essentially you could have looked at that statement and been like, yeah, whatever, pal. He was essentially just trying to keep Chris Dunn's trade value up during the summer so that the Bulls could try to offload him, but that's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't bring a guy for a long-term deal and give him a bunch of money when you don't have a plan to, utilize him in some capacity. I'm really curious actually on the next guy, because this is one where I'm kind of afraid, and so I would love to have somebody talk me into or out of these guys. And the next one on your list is DeJounte Murray at 98, one of the 2 point guards in San Antonio, both of them very good. And as I've said on the show a few times, I'm sure Pop's going to figure out a way to get both Murray and White on the floor together. I just don't know how all the pieces are going to fit. You seem optimistic, and that's cool. Tell me why.
Talent wins out. DeJounte, as good as Bryn Forbes played last year as the starting shooting guard for like the entire season for the Spurs, with DeJounte Murray being healthy, he should start at point guard. Derek White, with the development he showed last year, he should start at shooting guard. And I think the main reason why that should happen is because you're going to have to put DeMar DeRozan at small forward for pretty much all of his minutes this year. That's just the way things are going to go because of the depth that the Spurs have at the point guard and shooting guard positions. And then if you're looking at who to put next to DeMar DeRozan, you want a couple of defensive guys. DeJounte Murray was he first team all defense or a second? And then Derek White at least got votes for like third team defense. Both these guys are just so good in regards to their defense. And then you look at what DeJounte Murray did with his percentages in his sugar plums. Maybe I was remembering him a little bit better than oh my God. This is hilarious. So anyways, DeJounte Murray's percentages probably aren't as bad as what people think. But if I'm going to admit something, I was when I was deciding on him in this draft, I did what I just did to try to talk to you about it and explain my reasoning. And I opened up his Fantrax player profile and I clicked on his stats tab and I looked at 2017, 2018. But unbeknownst to me, because I was looking at my phone at the time, I was looking at his postseason statistical percentages and not his regular season percentages.
Yeah, but I feel like still, I think his field goal percent is one that's going to be decent. I don't know about free throw, but he didn't take any. He doesn't take any three-pointers, so his field goal percent should be better because it's largely happening around the rim.
And what did he have to do this whole last year while standing around with his ACL injury? Hopefully he was working on his free throws for a while, so maybe that improves from the 71% he shot. But like you said, he's not taking a lot of them, so he's not going to necessarily kill you there.
Yeah, he's averaging 1.5 per game in his 2 NBA seasons so far. So even if that came up a little bit, that wouldn't be much. I'm tempted to lump the last few picks together because this is sort of well beyond no man's land where you're just kind of taking shots. But feel free to break them out if you'd like. Dario Saric at 119, Andrew Wiggins at 122, and Seth Curry at 143. What was the plan here with the last few picks? Looking for some upside, I take it you don't believe that DeAndre Ayton's going to be playing the 4 in Phoenix very much.
I know I don't think DeAndre Ayton will play at power forward much. We just heard that news on Thursday. But anyways, Dario Saric, they brought him in to play power forward. They made a deliberate trade to get him. Dario Saric had a pretty decent season with the Sixers 2 years ago. He wasn't necessarily awesome in the first couple months there, and then he got traded to the Timberwolves last season, and the Timberwolves just didn't utilize Dario Saric. I guess they didn't value him, so they didn't play him a ton. They brought him off the bench behind Taj Gibson for a long time. And just stupid stuff that didn't make a lot of sense. So, yeah, I just look at the situation with the Sixers, and I see what Dario did as like a top 80 player 2 years ago. Monty Williams, who's the new head coach of the Suns, was an assistant coach with the Sixers while Dario was there.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of stuff to like about him going to the Suns, to a team that has an opening at the starting small power forward position, and they pretty much said that's his job. So I don't know why people aren't going after Dario. I think it's completely bonkers, and I'm loving it because he's ending up on all of my teams.
I like it. What about Wiggins?
Why not at this point in the draft? He's
this is why
shown
not.
the ability to be a top 80 player in the past, at least an 8-cat. That's where I reference. I know you reference 9-cat a ton, but I usually look at 8-cat for most of my references. Even I know I get it. We're talking about a 9-cat draft, so you do have to take that into consideration, especially in rotisserie. But I think at this point in the draft, I was just looking around and I said, if the new coach and more importantly the new direction that the front office, Gerson Rosas coming in from Houston, they're planning on doing a bunch of hip, cool stuff with Karl Anthony Towns. We saw a picture of their court at practice today for Timberwolves guys that had gotten together for some early run. And one of the things they did was post the shot values all around the court so that guys knew that, like, if you take a 3-point shot right here, it's worth 1.3 points. If you take that 2-point shot where you're stepping in front of the line, that's 0.9. And it's so beautiful to see that kind of stuff shared on social media because you feel like the reason the Timberwolves are doing that is almost pointedly towards Andrew Wiggins to try and drill into his head like, hey, Jack, take these higher value shots. Stop with this mid-range pull-up bull crap. Either go to the rack like you were in your early years and get to the line some more, or take that 3-point shot and stop jerking around. So he's still 24. It's one of those things where it's like, I think the negative narratives around Andrew Wiggins got a little carried away with.
It boggles my mind that he's still that young. Thoughts on Seth Curry, and then thoughts just on the team as a whole.
Seth Curry, I think people are discounting Seth Curry way too much right now. He's a guy who played limited minutes off the bench for the Trailblazers last year, but he was good. And the last time he was on the Dallas Mavericks, he was there for 2 years. The first year, he didn't start at the beginning of the season, but for the second half of the season, he was starting the whole way and playing big minutes. And then going into his second season, Seth Curry was going to be the starting shooting guard for the Dallas Mavericks under Rick Carlisle, the same coach that's there. But he had that stress fracture in his leg, so he ended up missing the entire season. And then he went and he signed with another team. So now you've got Seth Curry back with the Mavs in a situation where they've got a 6'4" point guard with long arms in DeLon Wright, who they expect to guard multiple positions. They've got, and then they got Luka Doncic, who's 6'7", 6'8". It just, to me, if I'm looking at that team, Seth Curry makes the most sense of any other perimeter player to start next between DeLon Wright and Luka Doncic. So, people want to talk about Justin Jackson. They want to talk about maybe having DeLon Wright start at shooting guard, and then Jalen Brunson starts at point guard. Maybe Tim Hardaway starts. Look, if you're looking for consistent 3-point shooting to put out there to help spread the floor around all of, Luka, so he can actually attack the rack, to help spread the floor, so maybe Kristaps can do some post-ups when he wants to help spread the floor, so Dwight Powell can roll to the rim easy. Their best shooter is Seth Curry.
Yeah,
he's going to be out. Even if he comes off the bench, he should still play close to 30 minutes. So Seth Curry is one of those guys that I'm really surprised there's not more of a narrative around. And it's like, it's the only reason there's not is because we don't have any words from Carlisle. And it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think the other players that we're talking about are like trash in many regards. That's so mean. They're not as good as him. They're not as good as him.
It's fine. We're talking about fantasy numbers. I don't think anybody's going to hold you to that. But point of reference here, what Kyle's talking about, Seth Curry is a career 44% three-point shooter. That is a colossal number. Do people realize how? I mean, that's an unbelievable number to shoot from downtown. So they got to play him, don't they? It's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. Yeah. It's the last pick.
Exactly. So.
Well,
and the fact that he is a good percentage shooter from 3-point range that you're going to slot into a rotisserie league, like, you don't want guys who are going to be dragging down your percentages. So to find somebody like that at the end of the draft, I feel pretty good about. So,
how about the draft overall? I'm not actually that great at just eyeballing a team and seeing what may be strong or weak, but how did you feel at the end of this?
I mean, I felt like I was able to get guys that I wanted in every round, so I was happy. I think in general, and just to kind of close it out, because I know you got to talk to Josh and other people about all these, but
I got a lot of things back to back.
You do,
but they're going to air on all different days, so you don't have to worry about it.
I just I think these drafting this year is so much fun because I feel like in every round I can get somebody I like because we have so many guys changing teams,
It's
getting
awesome.
extra value, developing. It's the funnest year I've had drafting in a while, quite a while.
Yeah, like honestly the most interesting fantasy draft season that I can remember in like 16 years. And I'm sure that's because I'm forgetting some of them because that's a lot of years, and undergrad, college wiped out a few years of memory at the front end of that. But this is crazy. Like the player movement this last offseason was insane. I haven't even gone through to look at the fantasy draft and said that's a new spot, but it really does feel like there's stuff happening between guys that could make a leap forward, old guys, you know how much I love my old guys, just tumbling down the chart. It's going to be a hell of a time. Kyle, thank you so much, man.
Can I have a closing thought, Dan?
You can have as many closing thoughts as you like.
Fantasy basketball friends, I implore you, stop drafting Brandon Clark in redraft leagues. He's not going to play enough. They got Jonas Valanciunas. They got Jaren Jackson. They got Kyle Anderson and Jay Crowder. They could play backup power forward. They got Bruno Caboclo, who they were playing as the center in a lot of lineups during Summer League. There's so much going on that squad that we just don't know, and you definitely can't count on Brandon Clark playing enough this season to be worth drafting in redraft leagues right now.
As a rookie, how many times I've mentioned him on this podcast.
He's awesome. I love him, but it drives me insane to see. I mean, I love it because I'm like, well, okay, I'll get whoever I want because you're wasting a pick on him.
Well, everybody wants to be the one who gets the shiny toy, right?
He's not a shiny toy, though. He's
shiny name, I guess. Well, not much. No, well, not even
an
that.
Advertisement for a shiny toy because you can't get the shiny toy this season unless an injury happens.
You gotta pre-purchase the shiny toy.
Yeah. Pre-order your video game or your downloadable rental on Amazon now. What?
No. Yeah, no. I'd rather do it. I'd rather do it a year from now. Kyle McKeown, the best, man, at Roto Kyle NBA, ROTOKYLE NBA. Follow him on Twitter right now. Obviously, you'll be tagged in everything that goes out with this show, whatever day this thing gets cut into. I need to figure all of that out. Thank you. Thank you. Everybody go rate and review the Hoop Ball podcast on your favorite podcast provider. Thank you. God, I'm tired of saying that. Thanks for doing it for me. It should be said. And, it's the easiest way to help out a podcast. That's my buddy Kyle McKeown at Roto Kyle NBA on Twitter. Follow him immediately. Hope you enjoyed day 2 here out of 12 in a row, breaking down the industry mock drafts. Thanks, as always, to Neil Rochlani for coming on, talking sports betting with us a little bit. I am at Dan Besbris, DanBesbris on Twitter. Hoop Ball leagues, by the way, officially are full. If you'd like to get on the wait list, you can let me know in case somebody drops out. And, of course, if there are 12 of you that all get on the wait list for the same type of league, we would open another one. But I'm not doing it until we get the full 12 ready to go. I don't have time to be worrying about trying to fill 1 or 2 slots at this point. We're going to get those draft times set up. Slow drafts will all kick off in about 2 weeks. Again, coupon code today is Kyle. Use it for anything at hoop-ball.com. Tomorrow, we'll have a short half show with Brandon Marcus, and then we'll be talking to, you'll just have to wait and find out, pro number 2 in our 12 Days of Pros. 12 Days of Christmas here on Fantasy NBA Today. Again, I'm Dan Besbris for Neil and Kyle. Have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.